So here we can see the bees going in and out of the pollen trap. The gate happens to be down at this moment, and to put the gate up requires going over. I had the gate up for half an hour, and that's about how much pollen accumulated off of the bees coming and going. If we move over to here, you can see the little lever that puts the pollen trap up and down. You reach up and click it up. Now you can see the bees have to go through the holes in and out, and when they go in and out, some of the pollen sacs get knocked off of their legs, and some of it still stays on. And the gate does slow the bees in and out somewhat. I would like to introduce the Stig O'DIY pollen trap for top bar hives. These are the 4 items that come with the pollen trap. This is the bottom part of the pollen trap. This is the top part of the pollen trap. This is the pollen stripping gate, and then this is a clip in case you want to use a plastic bag instead of a mason jar to collect the pollen that's stripped off. So first we'll start out with the bottom part of the trap, and this feature right here, oops, we'll get it out to where you can see it. That's for drones to come in and out, or for dead bees to be pushed out by the worker bees when the pollen gate is up. And then of course this is the grid that the loose pollen falls through after it's stripped by the pollen gate. And then if we look at this bottom part, we have a cone feature that makes the transition from the rectangular shape of the pollen grid to the circular shape of a mason jar. This happens to be a largemouth mason jar, threaded interface. And then also on the bottom of the pollen trap, there are these 2 tabs with holes for mounting this to the top bar hive when you first introduce it, because you can't implement the whole trap at once, otherwise your bees may rebel and be really unhappy. So if you start first by putting this under the holes for the top bar hive, they'll get used to the yellow shape and start using the landing pad and walking across it and all that. And then after they appear to be okay with that, after a couple 3 days or so, then you would add the top portion, which the pollen trap bottom actually slides in and out of, and then at that time you would not be using the screws that hold the bottom of the trap in, and instead using the keyhole mounting screw holes to hold the top part of the trap. So the top part of the trap also holds the pollen stripping gate. So the pollen stripping gate, it's like a butterfly valve in a carburetor, or like the starting gate for race horses. So this piece can be changed out, particularly if you feel that the holes are too big or too small for whatever breed of bees you might have in your top bar hive. And it is retained in place by the bottom part of the pollen trap. And then it has this would be the pollen gate out, and the lever is down, and then it rotates up and it actually clicks in place. And at that point the bees can only go through either the holes in the stripping gate or through this drone hole in the bottom. So as I said, this is a threaded interface for a largemouth mason jar, which we have right here, and it just screws on like a regular, and I wouldn't advise on trying to clamp this really tight. I mean, the 3D printed parts are strong enough to hold this jar, but they're not strong enough to hold probably the tightest torque a person can put on it. So if we take that off, the other thing that you can use for a collection container instead of a jar would be a plastic bag. And if you put the plastic bag around the bottom like this, we'll this would be a little bit interesting with bees flying in and out. You might actually have to get suited up unless your bees are really docile and understanding. And so there you see that this would be probably a ridiculously large size bag, but the clip holds on there. When you want to take it off, you just squeeze and it opens up and you can pull it off easily. And all these parts are 3D printed. So again, this pollen gate can be replaced with different sized holes. I'm open to size suggestions. If they get much larger, we'd probably have to go with a fewer number of holes.